Hi everyone, and welcome to the Haunted Connections show. We're bringing this to you from the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley, Leicester, and we're going to be chatting about what are we chatting about?
I thought I said last night we'd chat about what's happened the weekend.
Oh yeah, so we're going to bring you up to date on a few things that have happened up at the centre. So as normal, put all your comments, all your thoughts, any questions. All in the comments, and we will do our best to answer them or address whatever it is that you're saying. It is our last show before Christmas, so I just want to wish everybody a happy Christmas, and I hope you've got all your Christmas shopping done, and I hope you're about ready, because I know I'm nowhere near.
All I can say is thank God it'll be over in less than a week. No, okay. Thank goodness it'll be all over in less than a week.
Yeah.
Bar humbug.
I love Christmas, and I am so looking forward to it. Getting the family round, and
hey, Sarah's on time tonight.
Everywhere.
Sarah's normally late. So, what we're going to talk about tonight, obviously, if you got any questions off subject, we will try and answer them. We're going to talk about what we've done at the centre over the weekend. And we started off Thursday night, didn't we, Jane?
We did.
And we did a bit of filming. Well, Jane did a bit of filming. We filmed the first episode of the Paranormal Blackout. Now that is where we send one person upstairs on their own, completely on their own, in the dark, and all they've got to see by is the night vision camera viewfinder.
Yeah.
And you were
the first
guinea pig number one.
Yeah.
So, Jane.
Oh, well, I was happy to do this because we've done this before. A few years ago at Dudley Castle, Neil's son had the idea that we should just do this, and he called it the fear experiment.
Fear experiment.
And you had to navigate your way through Dudley Castle, the museum bit there, only just using the viewfinder of the camera. And it was very dark, and it was really quite scary. But we were allowed to do it in twos, so there was two of us.
That was only because
nobody would go on their own.
No one would do it on their own.
So we could do it in twos. So we went all the way there and we went all the way back, and it was quite sort of scary. But I could feel somebody behind me, and it was and I was with my daughter. So
that's why you left her behind you.
I did. I made sure I was in front of her so that they got her first. So I did run away a bit quick. Yeah, so I wasn't too sort of worried really. I was sort of quite looking forward to it because I thought it would be fairly easy, and being the first one.
And you had plans, didn't you?
And knowing the centre, I could sort of navigate through, and we could then actually see if there was any potential problems or pitfalls or hazards or anything like that. So anybody sort of doing it after me, we could address any of those issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go up, and there was only me and Neil here in the whole building. Neil was here in the office, so I know I had to go and sort of do it. And it really was not the experience I was expecting. It was just so far worse. I started off in the Victorian Sounds room, sat in there for a bit, and then I went down into the fairy porch, came back up from there. But somebody kept touching my hat going up the stairs, and I did actually connect with this chap. I could actually see him, and I do believe he is the young man that runs up and down the stairs, causing problems there. So that was quite good for me because I've been trying to find or connect with that energy for quite a few years on the stairs. I have done vigils on the stairs, and I've done all sorts trying to connect with this young guy. But just on Thursday, he did show himself, which I was pleased about, but also quite anxious because I was sort of on my own in complete dark. So I went into the war room, And that in itself was really quite scary because all the doors were locked. So you have actually got to open the door, go into the room, and you're in absolute pitch black. It's the only light you see is on the viewfinder, and it is that dark. You cannot even see your own feet. Even me stepping down steps, I actually had to try and put the viewfinder on my feet so I could actually see where the steps were. Sarah's saying it freaked you out.
Let's put it on screen.
If it freaked you out, do you want a chance of the rest of us have? Yeah, it did actually freak me out. And we were having this conversation because generally if we're in a team, it's sort of part of my job role really is to sort of be a bit responsible for people, because I sort of do a lot of work here, bringing in spirit and everything else. So if you're in a group, when we're in a team, it is a bit my responsibility to make sure everybody's okay and everything else. So that gives me a lot of courage, and it also gives me a lot of strength.
Mm-hmm.
But also, that's not there. So I didn't seem to have any courage or strength. It all fizzled off. But I was up in the war room, and that did scare me quite a bit because the room was actually pitch black, and I could feel people around me. I could feel, these things going on, and I actually heard footsteps of somebody on the right hand side of me walk across the floor. It was about 3 steps, and then there was a few bangs and that, as if they'd sort of knocked things as they were walking, and that did freak me out a bit. And I was going to sit in that room and do something, and I did actually manage to pull a chair out and sort of sit down, but then I couldn't stay sitting. It's really quite a strange sensation, because every sense in your body is working to protect you and to try and rationalize what's going on and make sense of everything. So I didn't really do anything in there. I went into the doll room, and that freaked me out a bit as well. I actually stood with my back to the door because I could feel stuff going on in there, and I could see the room perfectly clearly through the little viewfinder. But when you look up, it's absolute pitch darkness, and you can't see anything. And and a few times I put the camera on Hannah to see if she was moving, and then, because I'd got my back to the door and I didn't actually realise, I just sort of turned the camera to the side because I could feel somebody sort of at the side, and there's the 2 schools sitting at the top of the shelf. So that sort of made me jump a bit because I wasn't expecting that, because I've not been upstairs for a while. So at that point I'm thinking, I just need to get out of here. I need to get out, because this is freaking me out a bit, and I just want to go downstairs. But then I start having this sort of bit of a conversation with myself that I need to carry on, really, because I'm the guinea pig and this is the pilot, and we need to make sure it's going to be safe for everybody else, and I've got to continue with this and see it through to the end. And then I'm sort of saying to myself, but I don't want to do this. I want to go downstairs. I want to get out. So obviously, because I needed to do it, I then carried on and made my way through to the attic room where the REM pod was going off. Neil said that the REM pod was going off all the time. That
you weren't
I wasn't even in the room. So the REM pod was going off. There was a tape recorder in there. My experiment was going to be to see if I could get any spirits to talk into the old-fashioned tape recorder. But I couldn't. I was having real difficulty pressing the record and play. And I think I managed to do it. But then the camera sort of gave me, I could see that the battery was nearly empty. Bear in mind, I've been upstairs 55 minutes by this time. And I was very, very cold. So I decided to go back downstairs. And just as I was coming down the back stairs, the camera actually died. So the battery died. And I did actually come. And I was so relieved to get downstairs. I was so glad to be back in the little warm office.
It was great.
It was
watching.
all over. But it's...
So let's put Sarah's comment up. Sarah says, I've kind of always thought on an investigation, a group of people's combined energy brought spirit in, but do you think being alone in the dark and vulnerable gives spirit more chance to make contact?
Now, this is one of the things that sort of quite surprised me, because in the discussion prior to me going up, I was going to see if I could work with spirit as much as possible. And also, when I'm with the group, I don't always let spirit come in and overshadow me or talk through me or anything like that, because I feel I need to sort of stay in complete control to sort of look after everybody else. Because this building isn't normal. It's not your average just sort of haunted venue. And I was quite prepared, being on my own, to let spirit in, to let them do whatever they wanted to do and everything else. But I found one of the most intriguing things for me was I found that my body and my senses overpowered all that in sort of some sort of self-preservation. I could feel that the energy was sort of being diverted to sort of my senses, my hearing, the trying to get the vision in, because it was so dark. And that completely threw out the window everything that I thought I knew about that. And that's one of the good things that I think that's come out of this experiment, because in a spiritual way, I was hoping to work quite a lot spiritually, but in the end I found that my own body and its reaction to being in that circumstance minimized that in order to preserve me getting through it.
Which is interesting.
Which is the fight or flight sort of thing. But I couldn't flight. I couldn't fly, and I just had to sort of stay and deal with it. And when I was sort of put in that, I was quite surprised at my own reaction to what was going on.
Fascinating.
It was.
Now, what would you say to, when I first put a post on about the paranormal blackout, a couple of people said that would be easy. What would you say that to them, having done it?
And I would say it's all very well sitting in your comfy armchair at home with the lights on and being a keyboard warrior sort of thing, but you've got to come and do it yourself in this building, because we're familiar with this building. We've worked in this building now for nearly 5 years, and it still has so many secrets. There's still so many things that we need to learn, and being respectful, I think, is one of them. Not being over
cocky, innit?
Yeah, not being arrogant about it, really, because it will come and bite you in the backside.
So that's what Sarah's comment. Sarah says, yes, I get that, Jane. Being alone in the dark with just your senses. High five to you. Well done.
Yeah, I'm going to write it up. I'm going to write it all up. And we're hoping that many more people are going to have a go at this. And we want other people to write their experiences as well. And we're going to then collate it all. Because I think it's quite a valid experience. Because we all say, what would you do if you seen a ghost? Or what would you do if you were in this sort of situation? And we always think we know what we're going to do, but when we're actually in it, doing it, you react completely different. And what surprised me the most was how my physical body literally took over trying to protect me, and it was really quite,
which was very unexpected.
Yes, because I thought, I didn't really think a lot about the physical side of it, the senses.
I just thought you'd go in, is it called channel spirit?
Yeah.
And that would be a really interesting, because like Jane says, her job is to look after us, basically. When we're doing things like the demon connections, it's Jane's basic responsibility to make sure we're okay. Me, Ames, and Ant. So I thought you just sort of sail through it personally.
Yeah, I did, but we've always said this. This building is a completely different monster when you're on your own, and we mean totally on your own. I know Neil was down here in the room, but there was only me and Neil in the building. And if anything, we do have an agreement. We have spoke about this many times, that if anything happens to me, they just leave me. They don't come in and try and take me out the room or take me out the building or try and bring me around or anything like that. They just leave me. And if that would have been the case, there was only Neil in the building anyway. So I was quite prepared for that.
And I weren't going to drag Jane down the stairs.
He weren't even going to come up.
No,
but one of the things that you sort of think about that is if something did come in, I know I would have been okay, but I didn't really want, because I was already starting to feel uncomfortable. I didn't really want to spend any length of time sort of trying to sitting there waiting to sort of recover while all that was going on.
Okay, a couple more comments. Kirsty says, I'm glad you popped up on my Facebook. Thanks for sharing your experiences. Nice to see you, Kirsty. And Sarah says, as Ames volunteered. Ames is going to do it in the new year. We're not doing any more this year because it should have been Amanda Thursday night, but she's got the lurgy, so she can't do it. So
yeah,
we're
going
to
wait.
wait.
Have been Ames the week before, shouldn't it? But she was poorly, so
we're going to leave it to the new year. But this is going to be an ongoing thing. Hopefully, we're going to do it weekly. And I guess I'm going to have to do it sometime or other. I'm really not looking forward to it. To be honest, I doubt very much if I'd make it through all the rooms, but we'll see, shan't we?
Yeah.
You just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
And I think that's one of the most sort of intriguing but also frightening things about it, because we don't know how we're going to react when you are there. We don't know who's going to be there either, as in spirit wise, because I think each person will bring in different characters, so I think it will be
do you think your spirit guides or sort of the spirits who look after you will be more prominent in that situation, or they'll just stand back and watch and have a laugh?
Probably. There's probably one or two that might be there to help you, but not all your spirit guides are all there for that certain thing. I mean, I know I've got lots of different spirit guides, and one of them looks after my love and compassion, one looks after my strength and integrity, one looks after my old crone, she looks after my knowledge and wisdom. So
your old crone?
Yeah, she's a little old lady, and she looks after all my knowledge and wisdom. And so we do have quite a lot of guides that are there to help us, but maybe one or two might be there to just purely focus on getting you through that.
So we do want volunteers to come forward for next year. We're going to try and do it Thursday evenings, but obviously if people can't make it midweek, we can do it other times now, because the building's dark in the daytime, isn't it? Anyway, so it doesn't have to be in the evening.
And they are recorded.
We can't do it live, because otherwise the camera would have to have a cable, and that would make it too dangerous, with a cable going all upstairs, all through the room. So that'll make it dangerous. So
it's dangerous enough using your own feet.
we record it, and the person doing the experiment has got the camcorder. I think what we'll do one night is we'll get my phone, attach it behind the camcorder, so people can say, look, this is what you can see, and we'll move the camera around. This is what you can see with your eye.
Yeah,
because it is seriously pitch black. Kirsty says, where are you based, please? We are based in Hinckley in Leicestershire. And the centre's been open 5 years in February. Can you believe it?
No, it's gone so quick.
So, like Jane says, we want everyone who does this experiment to write down everything, all the thoughts, anything that's happened to them during the event, during the experiment, and that will be collated. Because it's not just a test; it's a test on your psychology as well. Is it psychology?
Yeah, it is a true challenge to actually be up there on your own, even for an hour. Originally we were saying about being up there for 2 hours, but I couldn't do 2 hours. I was just so glad to get out after being an hour.
But yeah, Amy will be doing it very soon in the new year. And we've got an experiment set. We're going to set up an experiment for Amy, because Amy,
we want at least everybody to try and at least do one experiment, don't we?
Yes. Yeah. So it's we've got a good one ready for Amy, and we'll have others for other people. Hopefully they're all going to be different. Depends how many people come forward.
Yeah.
But this is going to be an ongoing thing. It's, as we keep saying, we are a research centre, so this experiment is research into the human psyche, really, of being in a haunted building, pitch black with just a little. It's only about 2 inches, inch and a half.
Yeah.
Viewfinder.
And it really is a blackout because I mean, at one point I dropped. I mean, I did have a torch on me for health and safety reasons,
and you had a walkie-talkie,
and I had a walkie-talkie on me, and I was fitted with a mic as well. So if I was sort of desperate for help, I could have said to Neil, you've got to come and help me, or I need you to come, or whatever. So there is a backup there. But when my walkie-talkie fell off, I don't quite know how it fell off unless somebody knocked it off. But when my walkie-talkie fell off, I did have to use my torch to try and find it. But it is. But when it's cold and black, it does mess with your psyche.
I imagine it's going to mess with some people's minds.
Yeah,
seriously, I am scared to death of doing it, but I've got to do it.
There's no shame if you feel you've had enough after 20 minutes and you only get through the first 2 rooms, and you want to come down. There's no shame in that. But we just want you to record it. Why? Why did you come out early? Well, how were you feeling? What was it? How were you being affected? And it's getting all that information that we want. So there's no shame if you don't manage to last the hour, or you don't get through all the rooms. It's just, that's just contributing to what, to our sort of experiment, really, all about the paranormal blackout.
Yeah, let's put some more comments. Kirsty says, I'll have to watch out for your lives. I'm in Devon. We do lots of live feeds. We're going to be talking about our live feed that we did Sunday night in a few minutes. So, and that's, I love what we do. Stephen says, good evening. It's actually quite nice to catch you at the beginning of the show. Normally comes to 5 minutes at the end. I really don't mind having a go myself. I don't know any history of the building or only any haunted objects within the building, so I can go in there with a blank page. That would be good. I just don't think it's just about it, the objects, though, is it? It's not so much about the object. It's, to me, it's about how you can handle being in the rooms. And I think it'd be easier if you got to sit in one room for an hour.
Yeah.
If you just sat down in a room for an hour, I think you could do that. Or even I could do that. But having to move from room to room, opening the doors, because you don't know what's going to be behind the door, do you?
Yeah.
I think that's going to mess with some people's psyche.
I was closing the doors behind me as well.
Sarah says, so when will it be shown on the page? I'm going to edit it over the Christmas break, and then it'll be going on the page. Amy says, I'm looking forward to my turn. Yeah, I think Jane was looking forward to her turn as well, Amy.
Yeah. That soon changed when I got upstairs.
Actually, when you walked in, you looked quite nervous. When you walked upstairs.
Yeah, because even you could feel them. It's almost like they're waiting for you. You could feel them as I was coming up the stairs, but
So do you think? I firmly believe they know what we're doing.
Oh God, yeah.
Do you think they were thinking, haha?
Yeah.
We can scare them all here.
And this is one of the things where I think that different people will bring out different spirits up there, and that will also be quite interesting as well. And if people are not familiar with the centre, it will also be interesting to hear what they're picking up, what if they're seeing anything, what they're seeing. And we want to record all this because if, say, half a dozen of you see the same thing, and you're doing this on your own, and if you randomly pick up the same thing as 6 other people, that's really going to be interesting. If you see the same sort of thing, if you experience the same sort of thing, then is that more than just coincidence?
Yeah, you can see Jane keep looking up. The monitor, the camera is just above.
Yeah, I mean, because of all, there's 8 cameras throughout the building, and they are night vision cameras. So you know, we even from the office we can watch you, and you will be safe.
Sarah says, "I'm looking forward to your turn, Ames." And Amy says, "I can't promise my language will be clean." I am going to have download a beep facility when I'm editing Amy's. I just think it's going to be beep 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 and beep beep.
Just probably as well to turn the sound off.
Kevin says, "Did you guys know Joe Richards from Sorry Paranormal?" No, I don't think so. I can't remember. I don't think so, Kevin. Amy says thanks. So we've she passed away.
Yeah, very sorry to hear that.
It's a shame. We've also got the Pandora's box built now, haven't we?
Yes. That's something else that's coming next year.
No one has had a go yet up here. It was given to us. It's not my idea. It was given to us, and we've finally built it. Basically, and you've got to have a go as well, Jane. Basically, it's a box with two compartments in. One compartment is where at the front is where the person sits, and then you've got your back to another compartment where we will place a haunted object. No one will know what the haunted object is apart from the person who puts it in. So then we're going to have a book at the side. So instead of telling people what people sense or feel, write it down, because then no one else is going to be persuaded to it's a doll, for example. So no one else will know what the people sense. And that again, that is going to be an ongoing experiment that we're going to do. Next year, Jane doesn't know this even. Next year, we are also going to be starting the Gansfeld experiment. Do you know about the Gansfeld experiment?
You can tell me.
The Gansfeld experiment, again, it's not my idea, but I've changed it a little bit, is you sit in a black room with a strobe light. You sit in one chair with another chair in front of you, a strobe light behind you, and you wear something over your eyes so you can't see too much. What we're going to do is we're going to take the UV out of the light that's strobing.
Okay.
When it first invented, they saw spirits.
Right.
Because you're restricting what frequency of light that you can see.
Okay.
Obviously, anyone who's got epileptic, they can't do it because it's going to be a strobe light. But that's going to be interesting again. Again, that will be kept in one room, probably in the doll's room because it's the biggest one. And that'll be an ongoing piece of research as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Kevin says, "Gotta go, guys. Hope you both have an amazing Christmas." And you, Kevin.
Yeah, and you, Kevin. Merry Christmas.
Hopefully we'll see you next year. Right. Sunday. What did we do Sunday then, Jane?
Oh, we did another session of the Demon Connections.
We did.
And we looked at Fornius.
Mm-hmm. And it's just another amazing.
Yeah, we've done
experience.
We've done that about 20.
Oh, easy, yeah. We're going to crack through them next year. We're going to do more next year. And these are the Demon Connections are streamed live. I did have the idea of recording them, but it's not going to work. We like doing them live so people can see as we're doing it, which is better, isn't it? And we introduced the water Ouija to the world.
And it was good. Fornius, one of the things about him is that his element was water. So we wanted to try a different experiment. So we thought we'd try the water Ouija. And it was good. It was really good to see it again because we've worked with it before. And I know Amy was saying
long time ago.
Because it was your invention.
It was.
This came to you, didn't it? And you invented it.
Yeah, and it was fascinating. If you don't know what the water Ouija is, watch the Demon Connections live from Sunday night. You'll see it in action. What interested me the most about that night, the water Ouija, was at the very end.
Yeah.
Because it was going to yes and answering questions, it was going to no and answering questions, but when he was sort of fading away,
Yeah,
and we were sort of ending it, we weren't taking a notice of the water Ouija, and it went to goodbye.
yeah.
Hadn't gone to goodbye all evening.
So if you haven't seen it before, it's a bowl of water, and underneath it's got letters. Yes, no, maybe, goodbye, that sort of
And
thing.
some numbers.
And hello, and some numbers. And sitting inside the bowl is like a wooden fishing float that's weighted just to the right amount, where it just sort of sits on the bottom, but it will then sort of bob along in the water to yes or no. And I love it because nobody touches it. It's there's no way that you can influence it, and it was great to see it out working again.
And sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, we originally, when I last worked with it, was in Gresley Old Hall, and we were in the nursery there, and there was 3 of us around the table. We weren't even touching the table, and the float was going crazy up and down in the water, and it was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Clever idea, I reckon.
It was, yeah. You are a genius.
And we are bringing back another idea of mine. I've actually ordered them. We're not telling you what it is yet, but we used to use them in our venue.
Oh yes,
venue days, and they were amazing, weren't they?
Yeah.
So we're bringing that back. Next year we're also bringing the dowsing rod board. That's going to be brought out. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Another good thing about Sunday is that he was showing himself to you as a mass.
Yeah. So he's supposed to materialize in 2 different sort of images. He can his favorite image is supposed to be human, but he can also his demon image is of like a sea monster. And when he first sort of came into the room, it was just an energy moving round, and he was just going round and round the room, and the energy was fairly consistent. But we also had some cat balls on the table, and as he was moving around, the cat balls were intermittently going off. Later on in the session, we did actually ask him to change form. We asked him if he could actually show himself to us, and he did that. This
is when Jane got really excited because she could see him.
Well, he was a bit
of a hunk.
Yeah, he was, with
a hanky over him.
So he did sort of appear a bit like a sort of a Greek god, and he had blondish, sort of long, sort of curly hair, and very muscular, with a little sort of tea towel on, and oh, it might have been a flannel.
It was funny.
He was covered, but he was very sort of cheeky with it, and he was very sort of happy with it. And bear in mind, this is supposed to be a demon, and one of his key things that he does is he makes people become friends. Nothing really evil about that. Very demon, yes,
demonic, isn't it?
And he does make people become friends. But when he actually sort of materialised in his human form, as he was moving around, then he kept catching the REM pod. The REM pod was going off, and we didn't have any more anything else from the cat balls, which I found was really quite
which was
intriguing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because the REM pod hadn't gone off at all.
No,
but he changed his form, and that started going.
Yeah, it's
fascinating.
You just can't explain that.
Okay, a few more comments. Val says, "Hi Val, hi Neil and Jane. I'm hoping to bring my team up to Centre to visit sometime next year.
Yeah, nice to see you again."
Kirsty says, "That sounds brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing this." It is fascinating because the one thing that puts me off Ouija boards is people have got the finger on the planchette. Easy to manipulate, whether you do it on purpose or your brain is doing it because your brain wants to give you the answers that your brain thinks you want. It's always dubious, isn't it?
Yeah.
the water weed, you're not
Nobody
touching it.
touches it.
You're not. No one's
We're only
touching
touching the table, and you don't even have to touch the table.
it. Kirsty says, bit like a shapeshifter.
Yeah, he can change into any form. Apparently, he can change his form, but his favourite form is supposed to be human. But it was just great, sort of working with him.
That's what this is. One's for you then. This is from Sarah. Sarah says, do you think that Christmas, the veil between us and the spirit world is thinner? So many people miss past loved ones at Christmas. Surely all the thoughts put out there must bring them nearer.
Yeah, I'll go sort of one step beyond that, and I'll say I think it's more to do with the winter solstice, which is of course very ancient sort of pagan celebration, and I believe that the energies and everything surrounding that are just so much intensified. I think the veil does become thinner around the winter solstice. I think all the fae come out and they're celebrating. I think the winter solstice is such a big milestone in the pagan calendar. It's like the summer solstice, because now, once we hit the winter solstice, all the nights are going to be getting longer, shorter. Days are getting longer. And I just think that the winter solstice is such a big event in in our world, and in all the other sort of spirit realms as well. So I think in the spirit world it is a big thing, because I do believe that a lot more spirit come out. I believe that some of these ancient pagan roots that were used for the celebrations and things, because we've seen it in Leicester, and one of the activities in this lady's house, and it was just past I think it was just past the equinox, and they were just coming through our house. Basically, our house was built on this pagan path, and they were just all coming through to go to this pagan ritual site to celebrate. And I do think spirit do come out a lot more. So I think the focus for me would be more on the winter solstice, which is where all the thinning of the veil and everything else comes in, because the Christmas celebration is really more about the Christianity, isn't it? And that's to me, that's all sort of still a bit of a man-made story. We can't sort of guarantee what's true and what isn't on that, but we know for sure that the winter solstice is a definite sort of phenomenon. We know it's the shortest day and the longest night, and after that things change.
Spring's come in.
Yeah.
Sarah says that explains a lot of what I've been experiencing lately. That's good. And Vaughn says it was very good watching the water Ouija.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I've already got ideas to make it even better.
Yeah.
So again, over Christmas and the New Year, the water Ouija will be being adapted,
being upgraded.
It isn't patented or anything, so if people want to copy it, go for it. So that was Sunday. So also with demon connections, it fascinates me that these demons that we spoke to have all got their own individual personalities, haven't they? Yeah,
they're all individual sort of beings, really, aren't they? And I do still, because he was a fallen angel, another fallen angel, and this was allegedly while he was demonized, and he's very much sort of a protector, a guardian. And to me, I just didn't think there was nothing demonic about him whatsoever. If anything, it was the other way around. He was very positive, happy, very jovial, bit mischievous, bit cheeky. He certainly laughed when he showed me his muscles.
Where he flexed himself.
So
Sarah says, to a paddling pool, laugh out loud. No, we're not all getting our bathers on.
No, don't see any budgie smugglers.
Kirsty says, if we miss the live, can we rewatch it? Yes, you can. The lives will stay on this page.
There is a Haunted Connections, Demon Connections page.
Yeah, and
isn't there?
I tend to, it goes on live normally on YouTube and this page, but the computer was playing up Sunday night. I couldn't get it on YouTube, so it was just streamed live on the main Haunted Antiques page. So it was definitely on there live, but it's on all the pages as it was. Obviously, it's not live now, but and they're all there. Like Jane says, we've must have done over 20 now.
Yeah,
got to be over 20.
And we will be going through to the 72. We're going to be doing all 72 of the demons in the Lesser Key of Solomon. And then we have been asked to do a few extras outside of that. And we have done a few extras, haven't we?
Yeah, Lilith.
We've done Lilith, and there's another one that we did.
Yeah.
We haven't done Lucifer yet, because Lucifer's not in the 72. We were going to do him at Pendle, but we didn't get around to that.
Pendle wasn't what we expected, was it?
There's a few on the list. Like Zozo, people want us to do Zozo.
People have asked us to do Zozo,
so we will do Zozo.
Of course, he's not one of the 72. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Perhaps nothing will happen. As always, if the demon that Jane sends the invite out to doesn't want to come, we can't force them to come. It's just a short live feed. We're not going to flog a dead horse. If he's not there, he ain't there, is he?
Yeah, but that still adds to our research and our writings, because every demon connections that we do, it does get all written up, and eventually, when we've done the 72, they will be going into a book, so you can, you'll be able to read about our findings.
I think we should do it. I think we should do a series of books.
Do you?
Yeah, then we make more money.
I was going to do it for the money.
I was. No, I weren't really. Okay, here's an interesting one. Sarah says, do you think you will ever attempt to enter the mirror again, Jane?
Yes, I will. The way the last couple of years have been, it's just been a bit crazy, hasn't it? And
yeah, we had COVID and we had illnesses and all sorts.
Yeah. So it may be one of the things I do next year.
Is anyone going with you?
You can come.
Really? Yeah, we'll give it a go. Do you think, because with the mirror now, changing subjects again, do you think because you've been there once, it'll be easier for you? Do you think they'll be more accommodating?
I think it will. I think it will
show you more.
Because I know some of the guardians that were at the gate, I do believe some of them have been back through the mirror through here.
What, checking it? Do you think they check up on us?
One of the hooded figures I do think is one of the guardians from the gate.
All right.
So maybe it's his job to just come and to sort of police that portal. I don't know.
Again, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's as if they're keeping their eye on us to make sure we've still got their approval.
Yeah,
and not, doing things too much for the wrong reason. Okay, Von says, again, good comment. Most of the ones you've done, they are very interesting and certainly not as described in history. The demons. It's when we first started, they were called the Demon Files when we started. When we first started, we did it we recorded it, didn't we, Jane?
Yeah.
And it was just myself and Jane. The demons is Jane's idea. She got this idea through COVID, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, because I was
when she was on 2-year holiday.
Yeah. Well, I was reading. I was going, hang on a minute, this ain't right. Well, this doesn't seem what we've all been brainwashed into believing. So that's when I said to Neil, I think we should go through these demons one by one and just work with what we've got and just find our own truth. And
I must admit, I weren't too sure.
Yeah, we were
because we were a bit apprehensive, and that's why we did it just Jane and myself. And we recorded it. We didn't do it live because we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't even know if anyone would come.
Mm-hmm.
or if they did come, what they were going to do.
Yeah.
We could have been crawling across the ceiling.
Yeah. Because
But they're not what you think, is it?
no.
What the Hollywood portrays them as, and
And
a lot
religion, the
of
Bible,
religion,
and
and
the churches.
a lot of paranormal teams don't get involved with. People have unfriended us because of the demon connections, but that's up to them.
Yeah.
We are perfectly safe doing it.
Yeah. And to be honest, even if absolutely nobody watched, it wouldn't matter, because we are just doing it for our own curiosity and for our own answers.
Yeah.
But we like to share it with people, because I think sharing the truth is very important, because we shouldn't keep being brainwashed into thinking that the demons are evil, the demons are going to be doing this, that, and the other, and they're really bad. I mean, they're not. Some of the demons, one of them, his job is to make people fall in love with each other. And I know last
And
night
they did, didn't
on
they,
Sunday.
Amy?
Oh yeah, because we did do card readings, didn't we?
Didn't
And
we?
yeah, there was a funny little bit that came up in
We
Amy's.
always try and do each one slightly different. Like you've had tarot cards
Yeah,
to do
we
it
had
with.
crystal ball, and
We've had the Pathfinder. What the Pathfinder board is generally really good with the demons.
yeah. So regarding on what the demon is sort of specialising in, or what he's associated with, or anything like that, we do try and sort of do that. So like when we were doing Fornius, orange candles, the iron candlestick, there's, the water, because it's his element, and we try and get as much in as we can that's specifically tailored for that demon.
And the next one's going to be interesting again, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not read up on him yet, but we do know, because the water Ouija kept going to the 20. So we're going to go with 22 for the next demon.
Okay, a couple more comments. Sarah says maybe you should bring some of those past lives back on the page for any newbies to see. Has been some amazing footage over the years. Thanks, Sarah. That's a good suggestion, actually. Perhaps I should get my backside into gear and do that. It's a good idea. We have had some amazing ones, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And to be fair, I think in the new year, I think things will really pick up again, because say Neil's had to move shop. I've not been very well, and it does take, these things do take quite a bit of time out of what we want to do.
Yeah. We would never do a Demon Connections live feed unless Jane's there, obviously, just in case. So that's why Jane says it's one of her jobs. You got plenty of jobs, ain't you?
Yeah.
That's why she gets paid the mega bucks. It is to make sure Jane can see them. So, and she watches. So Jane doesn't take part in the Pathfinder board. You are watching what they're doing to make sure we're safe. Well, we're all safe. Okay, Von says, it was your show that made me follow up further research with demonology and occultology, and your results are agreeing with those subjects. That's what more can we ask for?
And if we get, like Von, if we get just one person questioning and asking and doing their own research and looking for their own answers, that's brilliant, because that's how we want people to work. That's how we want people to work. We don't want everybody to just take somebody else's word as gospel, like stone tape theory and residual energy. I won't mention them. Nearly mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it.
You got away with it.
Don't just take somebody else telling you that's right and that's real just because that's what they've said. Do your own research, do your own experiments, and find out for yourself and make up your own mind.
Sarah says, gotta take hubby to work. Have a lovely Christmas all. And you,
Sarah, and Happy New Year. We'll see you in the new year. We will
see you in the new year. So what do you think? We've got 10 minutes left. Oh, hang on. Let's put Von's comment up. Von says, I've always followed the books I've read in the past that demons exist as dark and evil, and it is not true. But that's certainly what we're finding so far. Whether they're all like it, I don't know. I'm sure you don't know if they're all going to be.
No, I mean, that's why we want to work with each one individually, and we invite them in. We know that all the other spirits in the building will stand back. So the only energy that we've got that we're working with is that particular one. If they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. If they, I mean, on Sunday, as you saw, we didn't get an awful lot of activity from Fornius, but we got enough to make a conclusion, make a judgment on what we think he's all about. And we don't have to have, loads and loads of activity. Some of it is even the most subtle.
It doesn't really
activity
matter, does it?
is. But I mean, some of them turned up, and it's just like a swirling energy. There's no form. There's nothing to it. But we do try and do as much as we can to get as much information as we can.
Yeah. So we've got a few minutes left, Jane, of this final show of the year. So we're going to have holiday now, aren't we?
Yay!
Jane's going to read a load more books.
I am.
I'm going to come up with some more wacky ideas.
Yeah.
So what are your hopes for next year then?
Well,
for the centre. Being you've had 3 years holiday.
Yeah. I need to catch up a bit, really. So we've got we've now got the paranormal blackout that we're focusing on. We've got the demon connections. I'd also like to sort of bring back some of the live feeds that we were doing before. The items, the haunted item on its own. I'd like to try and sort of bring some more knowledge and some more stuff about the Fae. So I might set up a live feed for that on a weekly basis. There's we've got the Parameet going on. We've got all sorts of things going on next year, and it's going to be a very busy year, I think.
I think so, and I agree with the way Haunted Antiques started. Was in my carport, and I basically put an object on a table and live streamed it. Perhaps had a REM pod or a K2,
some equipment around
it. I just let people tell me what they sensed. But we can do that sort of thing again, and people enjoyed that. And then we can do a different version where there's me and Jane there, so Jane can say what she's picking up from the item. I can use my pendulum or dowsing rods or whatever takes our fancy on the night. So there's going to be a lot more live feeds, and we do like the live feeds because they're easy, aren't they?
Yeah, and there's another 2 shows that we want to bring as well that we've been planning on for
5 years.
4 or 5 years, and hopefully we'll bring them next year. There's 2 different ones, but they are actually out on different sites.
We're going out,
so we've just got
out
to try
on
and
location.
get that. Yeah. It's
Von says it makes me laugh with all the groups who are currently demon transfixed. This is very true. I watch a lot of paranormal YouTube shows, and it's garbage. Von says, I used to enjoy the haunted object. It is coming back. So we're going to do 2 versions. One version is we're just going to leave it on the table. We'll sit in the office having cups of tea and biscuits. You can tell us what you're sensing from the item. We might put,
because we have got a lot more new items in, so we can do quite a lot of these live feeds with completely new items that have all come into the centre.
We've got a lot that we haven't actually done anything with either. So they are coming back, and they are going to be live, because it's just to involve everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do. And if you haven't got your tickets for the Parameet yet, it's selling really quick. Obviously, leading up to Christmas, it slowed down a bit because people and the cost of living, and that's why the price is really good, in my opinion. Well, in our opinion, Parameet is going to be amazing, and we've got a special experiment that's taking place on the Saturday night at the Parameet. You've got to get your ticket though.
Yeah, and there's not many rooms left either for the Parameet, is there?
Bedrooms are quite short. I've got to contact all the speakers to see if they want a bedroom. If you can't get a bedroom at Browns-Over Hall Hotel though, there's a Premier Inn basically just over the road, so you'll be able to stay anyway. Stephen says, do you think an elemental turned into a diamond? I don't quite know what you mean.
Or do you mean demon?
turned into a demon.
Well, elementals to me are all part of the Fae. I think I think they're all part of the same realm. I think that the Fae can be just as nasty and as dark, and if probably not, probably worse sometimes than demons. If you did mean demons, if you did mean diamond, then let me know.
Yeah, you'll have
But
to.
the whole thing is very sort of connected because the witches and the Fae, witchcraft and Fae are very closely connected. Also, the demon spirits are also very closely connected to all that as well. So it is all it is all really under the same umbrella.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, but I don't feel that the elemental side, the elementals, the Fae turned into demons, because I believe the demons, and this is from my own sort of reading and research and everything, I believe the demons are from the ancient spirits that came here and were labelled as angels and fallen angels, and they were part of that great war in the sky, war of the heavens and everything else, and all the fallen angels that came from that war then became sort of demonized because they were the fallen angels, and God didn't like them. He kicked them out because they wanted to lay with the daughters of men and make giants and Nephilim and all that sort of stuff. So, and then you've also got the Watchers as well on the sidelines. So, as sort of part of that. So I don't believe that the Fae or the elementals turned into demons. I think they were they've got their own
They've got their own
little realm sort of thing.
So thanks very much for watching, everyone. I do hope you enjoy. He did mean demon.
Yeah, I thought that's probably
Stephen
what
said. I hope you enjoy these little hour live chats, basically, aren't they?
Yeah.
We always deviate from what we do. If you'd like to see something from the centre, just send me a message. We're open to try anything, basically, ain't we?
Yeah, if you've got an idea of things that you want us to try and you want to come along and perhaps do, try it yourself if you're coming for an investigation or anything like that. If there's stuff that you want to do or you've got ideas for that you want us to try, then just message them all through to Neil and we'll give it a go.
Yeah, because next year there is going to be a lot more live feeds from us. It's been fairly quiet since the lockdowns. We did lots of live feeds during the lockdown. That's to keep everybody sort of
I really
sane.
miss that, actually. When I was sitting at home and we were all in lockdown, and watching the live feeds was a real lifeline for me, watching everybody else's live feeds and that, but they all seem to have fell off and dwindled away, and I really miss them.
Yeah, so we will be doing a lot more, and we will be bringing back the Haunted Object live feeds plus our new shows. So lots to look forward to next year. So have a lovely Christmas, everybody.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan on Christmas, but I'll say it because that's what people say. Yeah, I am bar humbug.
Merry New Year.
Merry New Year. She's not been on the nectar.
What's it, isn't it?
And
trading places.
We will be back very soon in the new year. So have a good one, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Take care.